Salve Maria, I would like to invite you to take a moment to reflect the grandeur of the vocation of St. Anne. Imagine, do you think that it is something small to be the mother of the most blessed Virgin Mary, who was to be the mother of God? According to the great Catholic mystic, Catherine Emmerick, many ancestors of St. Anne were Essenes. Those pious people were descendants of those priests who in the time of Moses carried the Ark of the Covenant. The Essenes became numerous and fixed themselves in Mount Sinai and Mount Carmel, where Elias had seen God and had received the symbolic vision of Our Lady. Saint Anne was the one chosen by providence to educate and form the Holy Virgin in the ways of God. What a greatness and sanctity must have been demanded by the Most High from such a chosen soul like St. Anne. On today's video, I have prepared to share with you something interesting about this marvel of divine providence. I thought of sharing with you some interesting facts, and many of them yet unheard, pertaining to the relics and mortal remains of St. Anne. So watch this video till the end and remember to subscribe, like and share this video with all your friends. Not long after the death of our Lord, a terrible wave of persecutions began. Around the year 47 AD, a group of Christians were captured by the Romans and put out to sea in a boat without sails or oars. Among them was Saint Mary Magdalene, her siblings Saint Martha and Saint Lazarus, and Saints Maximinus and Saint Sedonius. This noble group had with them the relics of the body of St. Anne. Although the Romans hoped for these venerable Christians to be killed at sea, the boat miraculously sailed to the shores of southern France, and the precious relics were taken to a town known today as Apt in France. The body of the saint was buried in an underground chapel. The miraculous journey on sea and the preaching that was done by Saints Mary, Martha and Lazarus and Maximinus made a great impression on the local people of the area, and they were converted to the Catholic faith. Soon, a church was built over the spot where the remains of St. Anne had been reverently laid. Because the area was a target to the invasions by the barbarian hordes, the first bishop of Apta Julia, St. Auspicius, buried this holy treasure in a deep underground chapel. Only a few people knew about how to access it. That first church fell into decay during the terrible times of wars and religious persecution that followed, and the site guarding the body of St. Anne was lost in history. In following centuries, after the faith began to flourish in Europe, many sought to find the body of St. Anne in Apt. Records proved that she was buried somewhere in the city, but her body had been hidden so well that no one could locate it. To discover it, they needed divine intervention. During the time of Charlemagne, peace was restored to the reign, and a magnificent new cathedral was built on the site over the old chapel. Charlemagne, who was the Holy Roman Emperor, along with others of his court, was present for the occasion. A young boy of 14 years named John, the son of a baron, was also present. He was deaf, blind and mute, and had been so since birth. It was a sudden shock for the public when, during the ceremony, he suddenly became exceedingly excited. He rose from his seat, walked to the altar and began to strike one of the altar steps over and over with his walking stick. His embarrassed family members tried to take him away, but neither they or the royal guards could take him away, and he continued to bang and made signs that they dig there. The eyes of the people turned to Charlemagne to see what he would do. Recognizing the hand of God in this strange episode, Charlemagne called for workmen, after the Mass to come and remove the steps. To their surprise, underneath the steps was a large door that opened to an underground passage. The young boy entered without any hesitation and led the small group. Charlemagne also went with them down a stairway. He continued down a narrow passageway until they reached a wall that blocked the way. The boy indicated once again with his stick that it should be removed. This revealed another long passageway. Again, the blind boy led them through it, as if he was familiar with the way. Finally, at the end of the corridor, the men discovered a crypt where a vigil lamp in a small niche burned. It glowed with heavenly beauty. It must have been really incredible to behold a vigil lamp that had been burning without being touched by any human hands for centuries. As Charlemagne and the people were gazing, the lamp suddenly went out. At that very moment, the boy immediately regained his hearing, vision, and ability to speak. "It is she," he cried. Charlemagne, although did not understand what he meant, repeated the words, trying to figure whom he was referring to. The call was taken up by the group and they echoed by the crowds in the church above, who fell to their knees. A profound sacrality permeated the air, and all sense in this mysterious passage was something celestial and holy. Who was she? The townspeople already realized that this was the burial place of the mother of Our Lady. It was because they knew from tradition that she was buried somewhere under the church. The workmen opened the door of the crypt. The air smelled sweet like an eastern incense, and a casket lay within it. In the casket was an oriental winding cloth and the remains of her body. The inscription atop the relics read, "Here lies the body of Saint Anne, mother of the glorious Virgin Mary." Charlemagne and all the others knelt in admiration, venerating the relics of the great Saint Anne, in whose womb the Immaculate Conception took place. Charlemagne remained there a long time in prayer. When the city received the joyful news, they were filled with joy and awe. For 3 days they only spoke when necessary and in reverential whispers. All of this made a deep impression on Charlemagne, who ordered a notary to make a detailed account of the miraculous finding to be sent to Pope Adrian I, along with a letter signed by himself. These documents and the Pope's reply can still be seen to this day. I'm sure while I was relating this wonderful event, many of you must have been taken up with profound awe and veneration. So if divine providence had chosen this glorious star of heaven to be made known, it was precisely to spread her devotion, so that through her intercession many souls shall conquer heaven. And also, it is wonderful to note the pious and Catholic ambience that had surrounded this miraculous event. It was the medieval age where still the aroma of Christ impregnated society. It was a world where souls felt a desire for what was heavenly. What a contrast with the atheistic world we live. If such miraculous event was to take place in our times, what would be the reaction of the people? Some shall for sure speak against it, others may show a pathetic indifference. Even the very few who shall have some faith in such incident may not reap the full spiritual benefits out of it. Therefore, let us beseech Saint Anne to intercede for our society and guide us so that once again we may witness a reformation and a renewal of spiritual vigor in souls through the intercession of her most holy daughter, the Virgin Mary. May God bless you. Salve Maria.